This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
And welcome everybody to the Monday Night Raw review. It is Tuesday, May 9th, 2023. Next up, Night of Champions, Saudi Arabia. And we have one half of the World Heavyweight Championship match now decided. And that is Mr. Monday Night himself, Seth Rollins. And not an unexpected result. I was a bit surprised Cody didn't make it to the finals. He didn't even make it out of his triple threat match because of Brock Lesnar. I'll be honest, I was a bit surprised by that, although it makes total sense from a couple perspectives. Number one, Brock Lesnar and Cody ended in a way that would lend itself to a Brock Lesnar attack and rematch, right? Brock Lesnar was incensed about how Cody won, and he's not going to take that lying down. But at the same time, we keep waiting for Brock to go away. This is usually Brock's off season, so it's weird to see him here consistently post-Mania. So I think I've been duped by his previous schedule now a couple times, and that is, I think, the reason why myself and others have been duped by the Brock Lesnar return yet again. And I don't hate it. This is not a complaint on my end, other than being embarrassed that I didn't see it coming. I think it's a good move from the perspective of Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes to end Raw. Do you really want two baby faces going at each other, both very hot? Arguably Cody slightly bigger of a baby face than Seth. And do you want the crowd to have to choose who to boo? I don't think you want to put them in that position. And also, why wouldn't you save that match for down the line? Now they've had a series of matches last spring that ultimately led to Cody being injured, and actually during a workout, that the infamous Hell in a Cell match. That that whole series was actually never concluded. If we remember, Seth attacked Cody after he announced he was injured and having to go get surgery with a sledgehammer the Raw after. So I guess we're all supposed to forget that for the time being. Again, not a complaint. You keep waiting for a complaint from me. It's not, because right now it doesn't make sense to bring that up. If Seth was cold as a babyface, or it felt like it wasn't working, or that they should probably turn him heel, then okay, fine. It's a bit perplexing that they wouldn't bring this up and have a Seth versus Cody semifinal. But given that they're both in a great position, you don't want to put them with each other. They're kind of two magnets with the same charge, right? If as a kid or as an adult, you could even take two magnets that have the same charge, and you have that pressure in between, that invisible pressure if you have the same charge. That's the way it feels with these two. It just is not the right time to bring them back together for a multitude of reasons. And it also makes sense for Cody's journey to continue, where he keeps getting diverted and keeps getting diverted. And I appreciate Cody continuing to say, we still don't know why Brock attacked me. He still hasn't said why. I like that. I don't know if he listens to the show. I doubt it, but it sometimes feels like he is, or I like to pretend that he is. So in my fantasy land he is, but it makes sense that they do this, because now you're continuing the chase for the babyface. You're continuing that chase. You're keeping things going. The crowd is still behind him, and they're still they booed the hell out of Brock Lesnar in Jacksonville. And then nobody was cheering for Brock. If they were, it was very faint. Everybody's playing along very nicely, and that's a credit to creative, a credit to Brock, a credit to Cody, all involved here. There's been no pushback or anti-hero cheering or that kind of rebellious crowd that likes to just go against what they think WWE is trying to do. None of that. And that's what you get. You get the crowd to play along when you tell a good story and you have believable characters who execute well. And that's what we're seeing here. And Brock Cody Part 2 is something I didn't expect, admittedly, but something I welcome, Because eventually when Cody gets to that finish line, when he eventually gets to finish that story, perhaps it really is against Roman. Somehow. I know they're on separate brands, but there might be a way, right? A trade. I keep saying trade, but that's really the only way I think it should happen. Or Rumble or WrestleMania. Very rare occasions where anybody should cross over. And so I think that really you could have Cody finish the story against Roman Reigns still. But it's interesting with them taking Cody on this journey of, okay, he says he's focused. He, for a moment he was distracted with Brock, and now his eye's back on the prize. And then now he's distracted again. And then, so based on this though, I would imagine that if this program with Brock and Cody has continued to part 2, that kind of implies that there'll be a part 3, because Brock, I would imagine, is going to win this match against Cody somehow, some way, probably maybe cheating to win, low blow behind the back, F5 and 1, 2, 3. Again, very early call. But then you'd imagine after that, it's a final, I don't know, maybe Hell in a Cell, but the next pay-per-view after that, I believe, is Money in the Bank, right? So I don't know. Maybe it does end here, and Cody's a part of the Money in the Bank. And here's the question. I know I'm getting a pay-per-view ahead of myself. The person who wins Money in the Bank, are we going to be told that they have to stay on their brand to cash in that briefcase? Or is it going to be told that they can do either? Or is it not just going to be said no one's going to say anything, and they're just going to figure it out as they go along, and whatever the story needs is what they'll do. I don't know. Again, we got a lot of time to speculate on that. I would imagine again that how about this? Boy, sorry guys, I'm on a fantasy booking binge right now. What if Cody beats Brock again? Brock goes away. Cody enters the Money in the Bank. He's about to climb the ladder and finish the story and be able to cash in. And Brock Lesnar comes out of nowhere in the O2 Arena, Money in the Bank, and pushes Cody off, distracting him once again. Just a thought. I don't know. Something to think about a few months down the line. Anyway, back to Monday Night Raw. Right? Monday Night Raw. This is not a fantasy booking program here. But so overall, again, I thought that was a great segment with Brock. Effective. The F5. The mic work by Brock was a little odd. He was yelling in Cody's face. Look at my face. Look at my face. Yeah, you want to fight? You want to fight? I thought he was at least going to explain. I was hoping he would, pick Cody up and say, you want to know why? You want to know why I did what I did? Blank. It could be anything. Because I effing can, right? In so many words. We just get nothing. But I like that they're at least, Cody's acknowledging it on camera of like, hey, we still don't have anything. We don't have a reason. But effective. And Brock got booed. And it was very well done in that triple threat. Well timed. The triple threat match itself, both triple threat matches were very good. If Cody Rhodes, and I tweeted this out, here comes a complaint. And you guys knew you were going to get it within 10 minutes of the show. How many times is Cody Rhodes going to deliver his finish multiple times without even trying a cover? And the reason I bring that up is, if you feel the need to apply your finish multiple times that you don't even have faith in your own finish, it may be a sign that you need to come up with a new finish. And I know that someone's going to say, well, he just wanted to make sure. He just wanted to make sure that Miz was down. Number one, it's the Miz. Okay. This is not Brock Lesnar. This is not Roman Reigns. This is the Miz. All right. Someone that couldn't kick out of a side headlock takeover. I'm exaggerating, but it's the effing Miz, right? Come on. And it also diminishes how, how effective that maneuver is, because now you're going to assume, it's going to be a kick out, right? Like he's diminishing the perceived effectiveness of his own finish by electing to deliver his finish multiple times. It's bad enough when you hit one finish your opponent kicks out, hit another finish, your opponent kicks out. But to do 3 in a row, I don't know. The thing is also, this isn't just a one-time thing. He's done this many times now, where you're wondering, does he even need to do this? And why are you doing this? And if it's a finish, you don't need to apply multiple. That's why it's called a finishing maneuver, not maneuvers. I digress. So that's the one critique I have. But I mean, outside of the fact that Cody Rhodes is brilliant in the ring, he is continuing to thrive on the microphone. And we, of course, had Brock Lesnar challenge Cody Rhodes to a match at a fight at Night of Champions. Cody Rhodes later on that night, after in the training room and getting interviewed, said he accepts. Obviously, he said he's disappointed in not being able to compete for the World Heavyweight Championship. And so, yeah, they accept. Now, what exactly is this fight going to be? I don't know. Maybe they put him in an octagon. Maybe. I mean, the way that they frame fight, you can't do just a street fight, can you? I would imagine I guess you could, but the way that he said fight, they kept emphasizing fight. Perhaps they do put some kind of octagon around them. I don't know. It's just a thought, but it's clearly not going to be a straight up match. There is some kind of stipulation that's going to allow for extra brutality. And we have a couple of weeks here to decide whether or not Brock's going to win or Cody's going to win or how things are going to play out. And how often Brock's on TV is also going to be interesting to see. But don't forget, guys, selfishly, we have Monday Night Raw coming to my hometown, Albany, New York, in 3 weeks. Was it 3? Yeah, 3 weeks from yesterday. So on May 29th, I will be front and center, hopefully on your TV screens. And selfishly, and shamelessly, can all 3 of those apply? Promoting my show with a sign if it doesn't get taken. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a couple of things. I'm bringing my logo, and then I'm just going to create a sign with no logo so they can't say, oh, it's commercial advertising that wasn't authorized, right? And just write with marker on a good old sign that says the WWE podcast. So that way I have a backup if the security says, oh, you can't bring that in here, right? We'll see. But either way, my plan is to advertise for free on WWE television and see how well that works. Because I will be, again, front row of the lower section, not ringside. But anyway, all right. Guys, welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. Big, long open there, but I want to thank you guys for listening as the show continues to grow. You guys are awesome, and I would encourage you to go ad-free if you're one of those people that just, you're tired of ads, or you just, they kind of mess up your listening experience. There's a great way to get rid of that for $1. Okay, that's cents per day. You can go to Patreon and take care of that. And there's also video and exclusive podcasts as you go up in tier. Or Apple Podcasts offers an ad-free option as well, directly in the podcast app, Apple Podcast app. Or you can go to www.podcast.com for an ad-free experience if you want to go VIP there for $3 a month. Or you can support us by going to www.podcastshop.com, where we have merchandise, shirts, sweatshirts, koozies, cell phone cases, you name it, it's there. And we're going to be adding different shows under this show in there, right? So one of our shows, Wrestle Magic, will be going up on the store shortly. I'm just putting together some of the merch, and it'll be live on the site soon. And I think the prices are reasonable. So they're about what you'd expect for a t-shirt or a koozie or a cell phone case or, you know, whatever it is. So I'd encourage you to check it out. www.podcastshop.com. All right. Let's talk a little more about Monday Night and Trish Stratus. Let's talk about her. Okay. Trish has done such a nice job as a heel. She feels so much better as a heel because as a babyface, Trish Stratus feels contrived. It's like she doesn't know what to say on the mic to get cheered. She's much better naturally at being disliked. She feels more comfortable with people wanting to boo her or knowing how to get people to boo her. So I'm enjoying this kind of revived, unexpectedly Trish Stratus in 2023. It's insane. But credit to her. And she was putting up wanted posters throughout the night. And, she was saying that Becky's gone and she's not coming back, and she's with her stupid daughter who doesn't even know how to, she doesn't even know her colors. So she's insulting a 2-year-old. it's just hilarious. And she plays Becky's music to get the crowd riled up, but then the music plays again and Becky's there and lands a couple of shots on Trish and makes her statement, and she's back. So this, you would imagine, is going to be a one-on-one match at the Night of Champions event in Saudi Arabia in just 3 weeks. Is Lita involved? I doubt it, but maybe she's at ringside with Becky Lynch. Perhaps she is at ringside to support Becky, and Lita and Trish end up in some physical altercation with a couple of punches and clotheslines being thrown. Nothing crazy. I still don't expect a Lita versus Trish match because I don't think they'd feel they could live up to expectations. But I mean, I could be wrong. Saudi Arabia they are not ashamed of putting as many zeros on a check as it takes to get their fantasy video game matchups come to life. So it's possible, but I would still say that Lita's not involved. Remains to be seen, because the story right now is against Becky, but don't forget, Trish did attack Lita backstage. That's being brushed aside. Everyone's just kind of accepting it. And what does Lita think about all this? So could we really be talking about Trish and Lita in the same match in 2023? I mean, hey, bring it on. It's nostalgic, right? The millennials, like myself, we are a generation with a sickness for nostalgia. I mean, to the point where we want to escape our own reality for our past. And I'm a victim of that, or I don't know if I'm a victim, but I'm a participant in that at times to the nth degree. And I don't know. So I got off topic there about our generation, and I'm in the generation, so I can talk about it. But anyway, the one thing I'll say about Cody, one thing while I remember it, I really wanted to make this point because I'm going back, but only for a moment. When Cody was talking to the interviewer, Kathy Kelly, I think it was, and she was asking about how he feels, and obviously he says he's disappointed, and he says it was taken away from me to become, and I think I quote here, the first ever world heavyweight champion on Raw. What are you talking about, Cody? Were you around? Do you remember the World Heavyweight Championship being a massive part of WWE for like 10 years, at least 15 years? I mean, what are you talking about? Maybe if he meant, the World Heavyweight Championship as we know it now being exclusive to Raw. But I don't even know if that's true. I mean, somebody that is better versed in their memory than I am, was the World Heavyweight Championship when it was introduced in 2002 to WWE, and Shawn Michaels won it first in the Elimination Chamber, and then Triple H held it for like 18 years after that. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but that World Heavyweight Championship exclusive to Raw at any point? I'm going to guess even if it wasn't all the time. So either way, it makes Cody Rhodes' statement erroneous. I mean, really just on its face. Like, what are you talking about, Cody? Are they pretending that the World Heavyweight Championship didn't exist prior to them bringing this to the forefront over the last month and Triple H reintroducing it? I hope they don't try to push that narrative. If they're trying to make us pretend that the World Heavyweight Championship is brand new, no. I mean, the belt itself is redesigned, but that doesn't change the value of that belt. I mean, its appearance changes, belts evolve over time, but the meaning, the value of that championship is the same. So I don't know. When I heard that from Cody, I'm like, dude, what are you talking about the first time? If it was the Universal, I understand. What? Bro. All right. Anyway, let's move on. What do I want to talk about? Let's talk about the first triple threat. Seth Rollins, Damian Priest, and Shinsuke in a triple threat. This was good. And We heard from both Damian and Seth. We didn't hear from Shinsuke. Again, a reason why, learning how to speak to your native audience would be very helpful for your career. But Shinsuke has capped himself in that way. As good as he is in the ring and as fun as his entrances and all that, he has a ceiling. And I think a lot of it has to do with his ability to communicate with the American audience, the core audience, the foundation audience, really. And that said, though, this match was really good. I don't think there was any question at this point who was going to win this. There's really no question. Also, how was Damian Priest in this match? He lost he lost to a musician the night before. And you may say, the match was decided prior to the event. Okay, it was mentioned in a prior press conference, but does that not negate his loss? Do wins and losses not mean anything? I don't know. I mean, like this is where I get into the weeds a little bit about wins and losses and how they should mean something, especially on pay-per-views or premium live events. Now, you can't have Bad Bunny in this match. I'm not saying he should have taken Damian's spot, and I still understand why they did it. But in this pro wrestling fantasy world, if the perceived goal by everybody in matches is to win, well, then there's got to be consequences for losing. No? But yet he's rewarded with the opportunity to compete for the World Heavyweight Championship. Anyway, it's kind of a minor complaint here, but because the match was really good. And Damian Priest, even though he lost, made a good point in his promo saying that, hey, it took a whole island to beat me and keep me down. That's not a bad That's not a bad point. Carlito, Savio Vega, the LWO, including Rey Mysterio, on top of Bad Bunny, all of them outnumbered the Judgment Day. And, the heel has a point here. And I think Damian's got his heat back. I really don't think, even though he lost that much. Damian is starting to really feel himself here. And I'm excited for him moving forward. I am. Now, I don't think he's world heavyweight material just yet. But it's encouraging that he was in the triple threat if you're a Damian Priest fan, and it's a signal to fans of where WWE views him. So, good stuff. But this match was good, and there wasn't any point really where I believed anyone else was going to win other than Rollins. So it was good. All right, let's see. We got Otis with Maxine Dupree and Chad versus Mustafa Ali. You get your typical 2-minute match here with Ali winning, though. Ali beat Otis in 2 minutes after a 450 splash. And, hey, that's encouraging if you're an Ali fan. Granted, he's beating Otis, who at one point, remember, he was like a killer. Remember Otis when he was unstoppable and you were like, whoa, he could go on a run here. Maybe he should shave his face again. Maybe that was the magic potion. I don't know what it was, but it was around the time he shaved his face and everyone's like, oh God, please grow your facial hair back, right? Because he looked like an overgrown 16-year-old boy. But he's a monster of a dude. He's talented in the ring for his size. And I was hopeful. And now they've clearly just defined him back down here. And I don't know. I guess you got to have guys on the roster to fill this spot. Everyone can't be at the top. But I think Otis and Chad Gable specifically are being underutilized significantly. All right. What do we got? We got the second triple threat. Cody, Finn, Miz. And I went over this a little bit earlier, but I think we know what happened here. Brock Lesnar interferes, costs Cody, who delivered the third Crossroads to the Miz. And he was about to win. 1, 2... Oh, there's Brock. And F5 on the outside. F5 on the table. Challenges Cody, screaming in his face, who's the coward now, all this. And I already went over that. But the match, though, before the finish, was good. I mean, I really enjoyed this. I mean, you have Cody Rhodes and Finn Balor, world-class athletes. The Miz, who, I know that there's a lot of hate for The Miz, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm a Miz fan. But it's difficult to not have respect for him, for somebody that sticks around for this long. You got to be doing something right. and I'm not taking back anything I've ever said about the Miz, so don't get me wrong that, oh, he's caved, oh, he's not standing by his guns. Oh, no. Don't get me wrong. The things he did with John Morrison when they were in that team were some of the worst things I've ever seen in wrestling, and that's saying something. But he is clearly doing something right. He is talented on the microphone, and he can put on a good match, as we saw with Seth Rollins. Was it last week or the week before? So, I mean, as much as I may not enjoy his character and the really lack of evolution that it's shown, I can't dislike or rather disrespect him as a wrestler, or as just based on his just based on longevity. But one final kind of point on the Lesnar interference. Again, I don't think most fans wanted to see, when you really think about it, Cody versus Seth at this point. Both are riding high, and there's no need to put any doubt or negative feelings or force the fans to choose. There's just no need. Everything's good with both. Leave it alone. And I also think that there's a argument to be made that Cody Rhodes, to finish his story, should chase the Undisputed Championship, the undisputed WWE Undisputed Universal Championship that is currently being held hostage by Roman Reigns. So, and as he continues to rack up his records and past legends, up next is Pedro Morales, who is at 1,027 or 1,028 days. He will easily surpass that at the end of June. And then I think he'll crack into the top. That'll be the top 5, I believe. And then after that, is it the first run for Bruno Sammartino? And then it's Hulk Hogan for number 2. And then I know number 1 is Bruno Sammartino again, his longest run, which is like 4,000 days or something insane. 3,000, 4,000 days. And then number 2, I can't remember who it is. But I mean, again, we're talking about rarefied air. Okay. And I actually did a video on this about this whole potential of WWE just getting things started with Roman Reigns' run. Yeah, you heard that right. Just getting things started. There's an argument there. I don't mean to put the fear of God in some of you, but all I'll say is that, look, if you don't want to think about Roman as champion anymore, if you just are tired of it, if you're ready to move on, someone else needs to be champion. The one thing that I will tell you to hang your hat on, focus on the World Heavyweight Championship. Okay? Because that is going to be your saving grace. That's going to be your little safety net. That's going to be your quote unquote safe space. Right? A very, very common term in 2023, right? Usually used in different contexts, but same concept. It's your safe place. It's the place you go to relax and realize, okay, wait, we do have a champion that's here regularly. We do have somebody that is competing regularly, and it's a babyface. And I would imagine Seth is a heavy favorite to win this. Regardless of who wins on SmackDown, I would imagine Seth is a heavy favorite. Now, as you look at SmackDown and the lineup for the triple threat matches, I should say, there's a chance. It's just a small chance. I know I've talked about Roman somehow entering this. What if Solo Sikoa enters this? And Solo Sikoa is instructed to win and hand the belt to Roman. I mean, there's a lot of crazy theories out there. I don't think that'll happen because we keep being told by WWE, and we were reinforced on Raw with Corey Graves, like, hey, this championship is exclusive to Raw with Roman on SmackDown. And that's important because if they go back on that just to piss off fans that, oh my God, Roman is now the undisputed WWE Universal World Heavyweight Champion, that's not going to be enough to... The balance of that equation is extremely skewed. The benefit you'd reap from that is, you piss off more fans, create a massive social media buzz. But ultimately, I think it would be a net negative because people would tune out, and it would undermine the goodwill of the fans in WWE and the trust that they have with the company. It's just not a smart long-term plan, I don't think. So, perhaps Solo does enter this, and maybe he does end up competing one-on-one at the Night of Champions event, even though he's not in the tournament right now. An injury or a backstage assault, and Adam Pearce has to find a replacement. Okay, Solo Sikoa's in. that's possible. And maybe Solo wins. I'll tell you this. If Solo gets in somehow on SmackDown, he's winning the damn thing. And then he'll face Seth at Night of Champions. But even if they get to that place, I still believe that Seth will win regardless, because there is too much of a story to be told with the Usos and the tension between Solo. Because what'll happen, I think, is that you have Seth versus Solo at Night of Champions, and the Usos try to look like, at least appear that they're trying to help Solo. They end up screwing him out of the title, and Solo blows a gasket. They start brawling, and the bloodline starts to break down. So that's possible, right? And it also starts to make you wonder about Seth going after Roman at some point, because Seth is a bit overlapping with the bloodline there. I think that's not a bad option. It kills two birds with one stone, and it's a match that I think we'd want to see again. So, hey, it's just a thought. It may not happen. It could just be AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins. It could be Edge versus Seth Rollins. It could be Sheamus versus Seth Rollins. Very unlikely. But there's a Rey Mysterio's, really crazy thing is you can make a case for any of them. And I think the most likely is probably AJ. But the thing is, there's not many heels in this match. There's Austin Theory, but Austin Theory is the United States champion. There's not a chance in hell that they would make him a dual champion and bring him back to Raw with the IC title coming to Raw. There is no chance for like 5 different reasons would that make any sense for the Austin Theory theory to play itself out. None. Austin Theory probably has the least likely in terms of odds, even though he's the only heel that would face Seth Rollins, which is funny. The rest of them are baby faces with Sheamus and Rey Mysterio and AJ Styles and Lashley. So to me, it makes sense that Solo wins this somehow. He somehow interjects himself in. That's my guess. Is it's Solo versus Seth Rollins at Night of Champions. How about that? All right, let's get to what do I want to talk about here? The Rhea Ripley versus Dana Brooke non-title match. Dana Brooke, of course, they bring her out of the woodwork. They release her from the basement every now and then. It kind of like I think she might share the same prison cell in the basement of every arena with Tamina. They kind of keep these women hostage, and maybe they feed them some bread and water, and they're just like, hey, travel with us, and we'll release you when we need you to lose a match. And Dana Brooke comes out. To be fair, she doesn't have any crowd reaction, but how can you possibly expect any? It's not fair to expect anything. She's just kind of another blonde, in shape woman. She blends in. Her music isn't anything to behold, and she's barely on TV. She got a quick promo backstage, the kind of pre-taped, while your entrance is going on, we're going to air what you said generically backstage that is never of any consequence or impactful. Those don't do anything for me, but okay, fine. She technically got a promo. I just, I feel for Dana. She got manhandled by Rhea Ripley, destroyed by Rhea Ripley, but I think there is more to Dana Brooke. I really do. As much as we make fun of her, how many times she's lost, how many times she comes out and that there's zero chance that she's winning. She's there to enhance a current talent. Yeah, we know this, right? And it's unfortunate because every time she comes back, your first thought is, oh, she's still here. Yes, it's not exactly, the way that you want fans to initially react to your return is, you're still here. Instead of, oh my God, it's Dana Brooke. It's, oh, you're still here. Yeah, not exactly an encouraging sign, but hey, I do respect her in-ring work. I think she doesn't get the credit she deserves, and mainly because there's no consistency. None. But yeah, Dana Brooke got destroyed, but she got destroyed and then was being further beaten down after the match and by Rhea Ripley. And then we got Natalya coming out, walking to the ring in street clothes and high heels. Okay. And the announcers even said, I think Corey might have said, she's in no hurry to get to the ring. It's like, there's a couple of reasons that's bad. Number one, if you're a babyface trying to make a save, there's a lot of damage that could have been inflicted between the time that your music hit and how long it took Natalya to get to the ring. Not exactly a way to make a heroic white knight just in the nick of time save. And also, if you're wearing heels, why are you wearing heels to a wrestling show? If you're a competitor, what the hell are you hanging out backstage with like stilettos, basically? I mean, of course, as always, I'm being dramatic, but you catch my drift. Like, she was walking also slowly because if she had ran, she probably would have tripped or broke her ankle. You can't run in those things. They're not meant to be run in. So, I mean, do I think Natalya is going to compete for the women's championship at Night of Champions? Probably. But is there any chance she's winning? 2 words. Hell no. Absolutely not. No chance. Rhea is going to be a champion. I'm telling you, a year from now, we could be still talking about her as champion. Triple H has shown he loves long title reigns, and that's not just applicable to Roman Reigns, which, by the way, started hundreds of days before Triple H took over, but also Gunther, Bianca Belair, the Raw and SmackDown Women's Champions, right? Both of them. U.S. title. Austin Theory's held that now for several months. Like, Triple H has brought back the long title reign, long title reign belief, and I'm with it. Now, it doesn't have to happen with everybody all the time. You can have hot shot title runs, and maybe you catch lightning in a bottle, or you have the surprise victory or surprise loss. That's fine, but that should be more the exception than the rule. And prior to Triple H, it was more the rule than the exception. So that's one thing I like that he's implemented, among other things. So, all right, let's continue on. Zoe Stark was interviewed by Byron Saxton backstage, and he asked her how she handles the added expectations, and Stark said she's amazing at what she does and has supreme confidence in her own ability. And she was then distracted by something off camera, and Stark approached, or rather, and told Saxton to follow her. Stark approached Nikki Cross, who was watching Stark, and smiled while pointing at her. And then Stark said there was nothing but weirdos like Cross on Raw, which is why she'll succeed. And Stark challenged Cross to face her in her first Raw match, and Cross smiled and said something of, "Let's see what you got." Okay, well, anyway. There's another one that you look at and go, "Oh, she's still here." Nikki Cross. Yeah. All right. Then we get the undisputed tag team champions of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn taking on 3/4, or rather 2/3 of Imperium of Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci, because they were going around and letting everyone know that the Ring General is coming back next week, and that they all need to pay attention and give respect and all that. And Kevin and Sami were dismissive of Imperium, and Sami was trying to tell them, "Give me 5 minutes, guys, then we can talk," or whatever, and they were having none of it. Led to a match, and a good match, and one that continued to just establish Sami and Kevin as excellent, an excellent tag team. And trying to find those next opponents, though, are going to be interesting. Well, I shouldn't say next opponents. Next opponents that are credible or believable to beat Kevin and Sami are more of the challenge. And seeing Sami and Kevin beat Ludwig and Giovanni Vinci, it makes you wonder if this is the match that they're going to go with at Night of Champions. Maybe. But if they already beat them clean and sound, it's not going to be that exciting if they do. Really, the point of this, I guess, was to give them all ring time, of course, but also remind us about the return of Gunther next week, which made it feel like a big deal. And the return of Roman Reigns this Friday. That's going to be a big deal. Roman Reigns hasn't been on television in like 5 weeks. So he got a nice quick vacation, charged up the battery, spent time with family. Good for him. Heal any wounds, physical, emotional, spiritual. He's got a great schedule. I'm jealous of his schedule, man. We all should be. But yeah, so the match was good. And it lasted about 10 minutes. Zayn covered Vinci with, Zayn covered Giovanni Vinci after he hit the Helluva Kick, got the victory. And that was pretty much it. A stunner was hit on Ludwig Kaiser. The stunner is still fun to watch. I mean, it's not a stone cold stunner, but a stunner nonetheless is still an entertaining maneuver. And again, solid work by all involved. Nothing to write home about, but just an entertaining, good wrestling match. That's all it was. And that's all it was meant to be. And mission accomplished. But boy, by the way, as an overview, kind of high level observation, how much of a come down rather is the Puerto Rican crowd to Jacksonville? And look, Jacksonville, if we didn't just come off of Puerto Rico, would have looked like it was a hot crowd. But given how hot and insane all the Puerto Rican fans were, which kudos to you guys, it felt like, you were in a cemetery, right? You were in a morgue. Like you could hear a pin drop. I mean, I don't mean that in that extreme of an observation. It's just that how hot Puerto Rico was. Any crowd that they were to go to next would have paled in comparison because they were otherworldly. In Jacksonville, I have to admit, guys, if you take Puerto Rico out of it and you don't make that comparison, you guys were hot and I think delivered as well. But Puerto Rico just took it to that next level, man. It was crazy. All right. Backstage, Sonya and Chelsea Green were collecting signatures for a petition to give them another title shot for the women's tag titles. They got one woman to sign, and then Xia Li signed it without knowing what it was, and they approached Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell, Dexter Lumis, but Lumis gave them the thumbs down. Gargano spoke about how the family were back together again. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. I do enjoy Sonya and Chelsea. I mean, the silliness aside, I do like their chemistry. Chelsea Green, at first I wasn't a fan of her character. She's taking to it pretty well. She feels too natural at it, if that makes sense. All right. Zoe Stark and Nikki Cross then had a very quick match in about 2.5 minutes. We got Stark getting the victory. She hit her Z360 finish and got the victory. Cross took the loss. Crowd didn't really care too much about this because, number one, Nikki Cross is super ice cold and no one seems to care about her character anymore. And then Zoe Stark is relatively new. If you didn't follow NXT or you don't know who she is, well, then you didn't really care about either of these women in the match or who won or who lost because you weren't really, you didn't have a solid reason to care. It was just to give both women time on the show. It's a 3-hour show. I don't mean it in a disrespectful way that, they're just filler, because both women are better than this. It's just kind of the way things are in their careers right now. So, all right. Let's see. Rhea Ripley and Dominic were interviewed backstage by Saxton, who asked if Rhea was feeling extra pressure, and Ripley said she welcomes it, and then she was interrupted by Xavier Woods and Akira Tozawa laughing. Dom scolded them. Woods told Dom to relax, and Dom threatened to punch Woods. Ripley cut in front of Dom, causing Tozawa to exit, and said Dom accepts. So, yeah. All right. All right. We already went over the Trish Stratus thing. That was, I think, a nice segment, solid segment. Dominic and Rey Mysterio, or rather Dominic with Rhea, took on Xavier Woods. This match was longer than I expected, nearly 11 minutes. And the finish of this was that Dom went to the apron and Woods took advantage of the delay after he was taunting the crowd, and he tripped Dom. Woods then placed Dom so that he was draping over the top rope and then hit him with a drop kick from the ropes and covered him for a 2 count. Woods then hit his top rope elbow, but Rhea Ripley pulled Dom out of the way, and Dom rolled Woods up into a pin to get the 3 count. So, yeah, it's a backwoods reversal for Xavier Woods. So Xavier is now the victim of his own finish. And boy, does it hurt my soul to say that a roll-up is a finish. But that's the world we live in. So Dominic getting the victory made total sense. By the way, where the hell's Big E? Anybody, can we put a wanted poster out for Big E? I know that he did a little promo for Backlash or something the other night, but like Big E, man, like I really haven't heard a medical update. And the neck, of course, is a super serious injury, and he avoided anything anything catastrophic. But I'm like, it's been a year, no? Like, is he on the Randy Orton schedule? I just feel like Big E has a lot to contribute if they keep him the F away from the New Day. There is a lot there, and they stick to keeping him away from the New Day. Do I think they'll do it? No, because they've shown that they can't. Alrighty. Let's see. Veer Mahan. I don't mean to steal your thunder there, DJ. Mr. DJ Kuzmo, who does a brilliant job at our Veer Mahan report every single week. And I don't mean that for those of you that have no idea what the Veer Mahan report is, we have a listener, DJ Kuzmo, who gives us every single week on the mailbag, which is airing tomorrow and does air every Wednesday, where the listeners get to voice their opinions and call in. He gives us a segment, an update on Veer Mahan and the Creed brothers, and that group that they have. And they've been off TV for several weeks. I mean, nearly a month or longer, 2 months. And it's now finally time for them to come to the main roster. And so I don't mean to steal your thunder, DJ. I'm sure we'll get your update tomorrow, but it's the Raw review. I got to bring it to light here. So Veer Mahan and Sangha were shown backstage standing dressed in suits. Jinder Mahal spoke as he paced behind them and ultimately said that they would shake the foundation of Raw. So that's all we got, but they're on Raw. That's a hell of a claim to say you're going to shake the foundation of Raw. Those kinds of claims, I'm sorry, should be saved for actually being able to deliver on that threat. The one time I can think of that shake the foundation of Raw was used and it delivered on the promise was when Stone Cold had his infamous walkout in 2002, and we had Eric Bischoff going on a hunt to bring back Stone Cold in 2003, 8 months later, to eventually, of course, have a match with him at No Way Out. And that they call that like shaking the foundation of Raw. That was like the narrative. So yeah, sure. But okay, they're, Veer Mahan and Sangha and Jinder Mahal, you guys are going to shake the foundation of Raw. And hey, you know what? I hope they do. I'm just thinking of the last time I heard someone say they're going to shake the foundation of Raw. But cool. You know what? I hope they do well. They've got a nice little group here, and it's nice to see them featured on Raw. It didn't make the Hulu cut, but at least to see them on Raw and to see and wonder who they could match up with. Maybe Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. Think about it. Okay, what do we got next? We have the Seth Rollins, Finn Balor final here, or semi-final for the World Heavyweight Championship match at Night of Champions. So the winner of this goes to Night of Champions. And the announcers did a nice job also at reminding us that these two were the first ones to compete for the Universal Championship, and the infamous night that Finn Balor got injured and he was the first winner. And so it was a nice parallel, even though it wasn't for the belt. It's still cool to think about that. And a really good match. And by the way, the inverted stomp, oh my God. I was worried about the health of Finn Balor, man. That was brutal to watch, and I don't know how he took that safely, but he did. And this match was 13 and a half minutes, and they are just so good together. I hope at some point they have a proper feud again, because the matches are never going to disappoint. But Rollins ended up winning clean, hit his traditional stomp, got the 3 count, and Seth ends up getting the victory. I don't think the fans ever really believed, nor should you have any reason to believe, that Finn Balor was going to win this. His career right now isn't on that trajectory. He's found a nice little cozy home in the Judgment Day, and there was just no reason to believe otherwise. But you knew you were going to get a good match out of it, really good match, and that's exactly what we did. So really good Raw. I think that it focused on the World Heavyweight Championship, as it should have. Now SmackDown side of things should be very interesting with the return of Roman Reigns. Does Solo somehow weasel his way into this tournament? I suspect so. Could be wrong, but that's my suspicion. And there's a lot to look forward to on SmackDown as well. I mean, guys, I know we're post-Mania here, but it kind of feels like we're now rolling back into almost like into big pay-per-view season again, because WWE treats these Saudi events at a very high level. And then we're going to the O2 Arena in front of a rabid crowd across the pond at Money in the Bank. And then we're going to SummerSlam. Like, guys, like it feels like there's no downtime, and that's not a bad thing. It's like all gas and no break. You know, usually there's that kind of quiet, somber, relaxed kind of post-Mania hangover. There's been none of that. It's been crazy, and I don't hate it. It's a different feel this year, and I think we all know the reason why. So, thank you guys for listening. As always, we appreciate your support. If you want to support us, many ways to do it. You can do it by giving us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. You can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts ad-free. You can go to www.podcastshop.com for your podcast merchandise. You can also support us on Patreon. Lots of ways, and I appreciate any way that you can as we continue to make this show bigger and bigger, and start to roll out some video on our not just Patreon but also on YouTube. Trying to venture into the YouTube category at some point. You know, I think that's an untapped resource for us as we think about things that can help this show grow. But anyway, that's my problem, not yours. Thank you, everybody, for listening. As always, take care. I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.